If you're like a lot of people who are interested in being a volunteer, well, you may not know where to go to volunteer, or what does volunteering really entail, or how do I get started, or what do I do? Well, today's the day we share that information with you, because SCAN has collaborated with Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey, and we created a volunteer workshop to prepare people to go out in the community and be a volunteer. So if you want to know more details about it, stay tuned. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to SCAN FYI. So I am here this morning with Megan O'Keefe from Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, Andrea. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, first of all, before we even go any further, let me also let everyone know that Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey is going to be one of our honorees at SCAN's Leaders of Distinction luncheon in October. And obviously, congratulations, Megan.
Thank you. We are so humbled to be honored by you guys. You guys,
Well
always a
deserved.
pleasure.
So why don't you just tell everyone, well, who you are and a little bit about Caregiver Volunteers so that they know.
Certainly. So my name is Megan O'Keefe, and I'm the executive director over here at Caregiver Volunteers. So what we do is we run a service program where we help seniors who are no longer driving through a wonderful core of absolutely amazing volunteers. So they'll do things like help someone get to the doctor's office, go shopping, do friendly visiting, pet therapy, respite services. So all things to help seniors who are living in their homes continue to do so with just a little extra help and support. So we just provide that little extra support through our network of volunteers. And we've been doing this for the last 30 years in Toms River
Long
and for the
time.
last 6 years in Monmouth County. So we've got a long track record in helping and doing this type of work and working with volunteers.
And the thing is, Megan, these, you say these little things like driving you or a friendly visit. Well, they're very big things to the folks who are getting those services, because I feel like often that makes the difference between being able to stay in your home and age in place, getting that extra bit of help.
Yeah, so the loss of driving is kind of the number one risk factor for the loss of independence for
Right.
seniors to, once they lose that, then, there are other, especially if it's compiled with other health conditions, to be able to continue to live in their home as part of their community. So what we want to do is connect them with their neighbors to help them bridge that gap to make that a little bit more manageable.
So I think it's fair to say that Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey is one of the premier organizations for volunteers to be a part of. And so towards that end, we have collaborated, SCAN and Caregivers, and we're excited about this. We've created a workshop, and it's called Volunteering for the Health of It. And that's the key thing, for the health of it, right?
It for sure is. So especially when we look at the type of people that volunteer for us, and if we interacted with hundreds of people out in the community who might be interested in a volunteer opportunity, one of the things that we find is you don't really know that much about volunteering and what's available and what types of things you can do. And especially after COVID-19, I think the volunteer landscape has changed. So how you get involved, who you talk to, what the process is, I mean, the key parts are there, but people just don't know that there's tons of opportunities regardless of the amount of time. So if you want to do 20 hours a week, well, that's awesome. We'll have you. But if you want to do an hour a week, 2 hours a month, there are organizations like ours and many others across Ocean and Monmouth counties where not only that they need your help, but it can be very rewarding for you too. And that kind of keys into the health of it. So kind of that nourishing mind, body, and soul, and just connecting with your community in ways that if you don't know, you don't know. So that's why we built this program and this workshop to kind of let you know and kind of get the skinny on what it's like to volunteer and what's out there.
So this is a 6-week workshop. It's completely free for anyone, and in fact, it's Wednesdays, October 12th through November 16th, from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. It's at Scan. Light snacks, of course, because can't do a workshop without snacks.
You
I
need the
put all that
snacks.
in, I put the info right up on the screen for everyone to look at, as well as Scan's phone number, because if you're interested, just give us a call. We still have some slots left. The thing is that each week we're going to take an aspect of what do you need to know about to prepare you to go out into the community to be a volunteer. And we're going to have I love the group dynamic, Megan, because I feel like this is going to be a very interactive kind of a workshop.
It for sure is. So it's actually a great place where you can we can get together, we can discuss with not only people who are in the nonprofit field who are looking for volunteers, but definitely your peers, and you can kind of compare from like a lifestyle perspective
Right.
where it fits in for you, what the best match is. Because a lot of times what you can find is if you're new to volunteering and you volunteer for an organization and your expectations aren't met or you don't have the best experience, then you're like, oh, that's not for me, where there's hundreds and literally hundreds of
Right.
opportunities. So how to navigate that and choose what's right for you. And sometimes when you have other people who had a different experience, similar lifestyle, it's great to get together where you guys can talk and bounce ideas off of each other and say, hey, this really might work for me. Or, you know what, that opportunity is probably not particularly for me, but I could tell somebody else about it.
So we've purposely left this for, we've allotted about an hour and a half each week. And one of the reasons we gave some extra time there was we wanted everyone in the workshop to have time for socialization, because a part of volunteering, I believe, is there's a social component. And that's very important as well for you as the volunteer, for everyone. So we wanted you to have an opportunity to, hear what folks have to say, and then some time for munching and, snacking and socialization. And you're going to look, I feel like we're going to all learn a lot from each other, because everyone has a different volunteer experience. And we know some people coming have probably never volunteered and just, they don't know what to expect. And that's where we really want to help you out. And the last week of our workshop, we're going to have, I'm going to call it a little mini volunteer expo, right?
For sure. And that's going to be a really fun opportunity where we're going to bring in other local organizations that are always looking for volunteers and have a ton of different volunteer opportunities where you can go in and you can talk to them one-on-one and say, hey, with this, and see what the right fit is for you, or just learn about that type of opportunity, whether it's one-on-one like us, where you go and you visit with someone, or you're working to create packets for distribution through the food pantry. There's so much fun stuff out there that I think you don't know until you get to talk and experience that kind of camaraderie, because that's the fun part of volunteering. And I think that's a little bit overlooked.
Oh, definitely. I know there's a social component to all of it. And, good for your mind, body, and soul. And I feel like anyone who's ever volunteered would always say, you get back so much more than you give. Absolutely true, right?
Yes, and we had a saying here, and we usually use it around Christmas, but if you give a little, you get a lot. And that time that you put forth does come back to you, I think, tenfold. And especially even just the idea, and well, everyone gets caught up in everyday life, and you have a lot of different stressors. It is impossible to feel stressed when you're out helping someone else and you get that, you feel their gratitude, and you're working in your community and
Right.
pushing the needle forward to help something kind of outside our own sphere of worry and life. It's truly a profound experience. And you can get that, in little increments or through big projects. And that's what we're here to kind of show you and open participants' eyes to, is that, hey, there's a lot of different opportunity out there. And it's worthwhile to get involved.
Because maybe you only have an hour a week, maybe you have 10 hours a week. The point is that there is something for everyone, and you're not going to know unless you explore these options. So I think the beauty of this workshop is that we're going to explore it together as a group. And again, with the premier volunteer organization, Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey. We're holding it at SCAN, and we look for volunteers too. I feel like volunteers are the lifeblood of just about any organization. You have employees, but you always need people, volunteers, to step up and fill in the gaps. And I think in terms of your own mental health, volunteering, it gets you out of your own space. You're doing something for someone else. This is really, it's one of the best things you can do for yourself, is to help somebody else.
It truly is. And I think time and time again, not only is that the feedback we hear from our volunteers, there is a whole ton of literature and study
Yes,
on volunteering
yes.
and the benefit. It all says the same thing. So, um, and I think there is that grain of truth to it. And it's just something that you should just try and experience. You never know until you do it. And I really don't think it's something anyone ever said, I completely regret doing that.
Oh
That
no,
never comes up.
I don't
So
think so. I don't
I
think so.
the biggest piece too, and what we find is a lot of people, it's just taking that first step. And that first step's usually always the hardest, especially if it's new. Or feeling like, when I have the time, well, that feeling usually never comes. It's just that leap of faith that you have to do. And I think it might be easier if you're leaping with a whole bunch of your friends.
Absolutely,
um
absolutely. I think doing this as a group workshop, this is just going to be a wonderful experience, even for us as facilitators. I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, all the information is up on the screen. Wednesday, October 12th through November 16th from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. It's taking place at SCAN in Monmouth Mall. There's a phone number on the screen for you to call so that you can sign up for the class. And I know you're going to enjoy it. And hopefully it's going to make a difference in your life while you're making a difference in someone else's life. That's the profound part of it. Yeah.
so I hope to see you there. I'll be there.
Okay, me too, me too. So thank you, Megan O'Keefe from Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey. Thanks for everyone listening today. Remember, if it's important to you, it's important to us. I'm Andrea Tarr. We'll see you next time on Scan FYI. Bye, everyone. Bye,
Bye,
Megan.
everyone.